In the time of ancient China, there seemed to be constant struggle for power and authority. China struggled to keep one line of rule intact until the Zhou dynasty, which lasted for 800 years. The Zhou ruling brought peace and stability to China. The Chinese rulers of the time left behind a legacy for all of us to see, the Great Wall of China. The wall wasn't enough, though, as Genghis Khan and the Mongols took over China.
Ancient Rome had two main forms of power and authority. The first was the consuls, who decided how much taxes to collect, when to go to war, and what the laws were. The second was the senators, who advised the consuls and recommended to them what they were supposed to do. A struggle that they faced was Rome's army being too large and soldiers not being loyal to Rome. A success that they had was Roman aqueducts, which helped bring water from distant sources into the city. The legacy they left us was bringing the development and usage of concrete, which we still use today in the U.S.
The Mongols were able to conquer a vast amount of land in a short period of time, and after Kublai Khan's death, Genghis Khan's grandson, there were internal power struggles and many people had claims to different parts of the empire, and after that, it was split into four. They expanded their empire and trade to new territories, and they kept the land safe so that trade could flourish.
For almost 3,000 years, Egypt was ruled by a kingship. Both Egypt and Mesopotamia depended on religious ideals and political resources to legitimize and exercise their authority. Experiencing power, concentrating authority, creates rich records left behind by both kingdoms. The most powerful was the pharaoh. The pharaoh was a political and religious leader. The Egyptian people had many titles for the pharaoh, such as the Lord of Two Lands and the High Priest.
Ancient India was a monarchy. The king was considered to be the protector of the territory. This role involved a big amount of religious power, but the kingship changed dramatically between the Vedic and later Vedic periods. The territory went under further development under the influence of the Buddhism. Over time, the king evolved from being the tribal chief and became a godlike king, a king who was willing to do anything to get what he wanted.
Ancient Greece had main forms in power like ancient Rome, only they had three. There were cities ruled by kings, cities ruled by a small group, and cities ruled by many, like the USA. A struggle that Greece had was the constant wars between cities and states that were very costly to their citizens. A success they had was they destroyed the Persian Empire, a threat to them for many years. Their legacy that they leave us was bringing a scientific way to the spread of disease and how it was natural and not punishment to get an illness.
Power and authority in the Americas was similar to other ancient places. Each of the three main tribes, Aztec, Inca, and Maya, had a king or a ruler. Each tribe had their own way of doing things, but each of them had either an heir to the throne, or when a king died, they had no heir, there would be bloodshed. Each of the tribes were organized for their time period, which led them to become very good with architecture.
Like ancient Greece, Islam's legacy also helped us in the medical department. They set up hospitals with specific areas for trauma cases, which is the basis of emergency rooms that we have today. A success that Islam had was they developed algebra. A struggle that they had was the Arabs didn't like the Muslims, and a majority of the Muslims had to leave Mecca.
Since the Indian Ocean trade was among different countries, they never really had one ruler. The trade made the Indian Ocean trade easier, cheaper, and faster, and also connected many other countries together. They struggled religious warfare, language barrier, and the harsh conditions they encountered in their trade violence.